Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So it is tis the season for new information on Path of Exile 2, and do we have some new information? So obviously there was an interview between Jonathan Rogers, Gazzy, and Darth Microtransaction, or yesterday, or in the last like 24 hours. And I'll put a link in the description to the original interview. But anyway, there was a number of take-home points that came from that interview, so we'll just cover off on those briefly. There's also a few updates that were provided on the X for Path of Exile as well, so we'll go through that at the very end as well. But yeah, anyway, sit tight. Let's get into some more juicy information for Path of Exile. Okay, so the first point that was covered off is you will be able to ascend as a party moving forward. So this wasn't actually possible in Path of Exile 1, or it sort of was possible in Exile. Okay, so the next one is that loot filters will be supported as they were in Path of Exile 1. I, for one, am a big stickler of the stock never sync filter, but yes, they will be in the game. While there is reduced loot, there's no reason why loot filters couldn't have been added, and so, consistent with Path of Exile 1, they'll be making a return. They also confirmed that in the initial classes that'll be added in during the early access period, the Huntress and the Druid will be the first two classes that actually get added in, so they'll be the next two classes that we get in Path of Exile 2 while we're in the EA. Also confirmed is that when you complete your Trials of Ascendency, you'll get access to 8 points. This is exactly the same as Path of Exile 1, so you basically do your 4 trials or your 4 labs, and then you would get 8 points. You would get 2 points per lab. So consistent with Path of Exile 1, you'll be able to do exactly the same in Path of Exile 2, so no real differences there, but it's good that that's been confirmed now. It was also confirmed that in-game juicing will still be a thing in Path of Exile. It'll just be a little bit different to how it was done in Path of Exile 1, obviously with Lost Towers and things like that making their way into the game. Also note that rarity does affect the rare types of currency drops that drop in the game as well. And this is, you know, pretty awesome because it means that if you are juicing in the way that you approach juicing, which is again a little bit different, you are going to get a really good return as a result of that, which is going to allow you to craft bigger and better gear. Okay, so the next one is a bit of a given. EA characters will stay in an early access league and they will not be going into standard at this stage. Okay, so for all you Righteous Fire players out there, yes, it is coming back to the game, and we did see the gem setups or the gem configurations in some of the gems that were released on the PoE2 DB fan website. However, they've confirmed that while it is in the game, it's just not ready to be released. What this will take the form of, who knows? Hopefully they go back to gem level scaling and flat fire damage, and maybe we'll see a return of the original Righteous Fire that everybody loves so much. However, either way, it's coming back into the game. It should be awesome, and I'm looking forwards to it. Okay, so the next one's one that came up in streams and things like that that I've done over the past week or the last few days, and that is what happens if you brick your Atlas initially. So when you move off into your Atlas, you have 4 points that you start at. If you fail all 4, they have confirmed that there will be a full Atlas reset and a failsafe in the instance that occurs. So you cannot totally brick your instance if you're really bad at the game initially, or just a new player trying to find your feet. So no stress, you're not going to destroy your map and brick your entire endgame if you fail all 4 initial maps when you start the endgame. Okay, so this one's consistent with the video I put out the other day, so it's now been confirmed that biomes do give the possibilities of target farming. So essentially, this was what I assumed the other day. It's very similar to Delve. Delve was exactly the same with how fossils worked, and so that is coming into Path of Exile 2 and has now been confirmed by the developers. Okay, so the next thing they confirmed was that gem quality, similar to Path of Exile 1, will still be in the game. But this is something that you won't really be worried about until you actually get to the end game. They haven't really given us an idea of how we're going to achieve gem quality or what that takes the form of or anything like that, but I assume it's something to do with some sort of end game challenge. But anyway, that's good to see that it's still in the game, and that's just another way that you can make your builds really wacky and way more powerful. And we don't even know what quality modifiers are on the actual gems themselves, so they could aberrantly change skills again using that. Now, there was also a discussion about the crafting bench, and they've confirmed that this has now been axed, and while it might return down the track, at this stage it doesn't really fit into the design ethos and methodology of Path of Exile 2. I'd agree with that, with all the currency that we've seen so far and how it works and the refinements over that, as well as using, you know, a scrapping bench and stuff like that, or a scavenging bench. I think it's fine the way that it is, and the crafting bench was just a solution to a problem that, if the currency worked properly in the first place, uh, wouldn't have existed. So I'm totally okay with how things are going to play out. We've got more access to currency moving forwards as well, because the drop rates are being improved. Or, you know, improved, I mean, like, they're totally being restructured the way that they work in Path of Exile 2. So I think this is an okay move from a design standpoint. Okay, so the next one is for anyone who understands sort of metacrafting or mastercrafting, is moving forwards you'll be able to use Omens. So previously in Path of Exile 1 you would use the crafting bench, you would be able to block modifiers from changing when you re-rolled something. In the change up for not having the crafting bench moving forwards, Omens will actually be the crafting currency that you use for this, but you'll be only able to use one at a time. So this is to stop them from being overbearingly powerful, considering the significantly improved drops in gearing and accessibility to gearing. I would say this isn't a bad move because, you know, being able to make mirror tier gear on the fly with omens that are readily accessible just seems like a bit of an overkill and would devalue the gear in the game at the end of it all. Okay, so similar to Path of Exile 1, the Atlas will be your unique Atlas, so it doesn't share with other people that might be in your party. So when they join into your party, if you're the party leader, it's going to be linked onto your Atlas, not onto the other person's Atlas. Oh, this is a good one. So skills that are given to you by items, so these are the skills that are baked into implicits, can be supported by gems. This is one of the biggest frustrations I had in Path of Exile 1. There was an item skill called Focus. You could not support it with gems, and it was a fantastic skill, and it was bricked when they changed the left click configuration. So it's good to see that they finally went, okay, if you have an item skill or a skill in an item, now you can apply it with your support gems. And I really like that design philosophy. And that sounds absolutely awesome. Also sounds like you could actually build entire builds around items if the item has a skill that you want to use as your main skill. Okay, so the next one on the Chronomancer, they confirm that Timestop doesn't affect your allies, which is good. That could really absolutely piss off some party players. But yeah, no, that's a really good that's a really good exception to make there. Okay, it was also confirmed that Cyclone will be returning to the game and it'll come in later in the EA. Now, we did see that sword skills weren't actually accessible in the skills menus just yet, and that's probably because the duelist hasn't been announced just yet. So I would say sword skills align with the duelist, and as a result of that, we don't have Cyclone yet, and they've confirmed that they are returning to the game though, or that it is returning to the game. Okay, so it was also confirmed in the interview that there'll be no longer any reflect mods on the maps, so that's actually a really good change. I've always hated reflect maps. So yeah, when you hit an enemy, it won't just glance your damage back on you and kill you instantly anymore. Spell totems are also going to be making a return to the game, but it's unclear if they will be in the EA at the very start or if they'll come in later down the track. Most likely they'll come in later down the track. Lastly, they've also confirmed that a build planner is coming into Path of Exile 2 in the actual game client itself, and this is something the community's been asking for a very long time. That being said, it's in the works. They haven't confirmed any other details around it, but it is definitely being worked on, or something is going on with this moving forwards. Okay, so on top of that, they also released an update on X today, which showed all persistent auras that can be applied on minions or, you know, from scepters moving forwards. The first one is Malice. So basically, this emits an aura that continuously inflicts critical weakness on enemies while they're in your presence. And the second one is referred to as Discipline, which is actually a skill that used to be in Path of Exile 1, but it adds 38% of your maximum mana to your allies. So as energy shields, so it buffs up your allies significantly. I can see this being totally abused to like maximize the amount of sustainability of your minions at the end of the day. Also noting, you'll also see on the Scepter that the minion mods themselves are absolutely cracked. +3 to level of all minion skills, then like flat cast speed, flat attack damage is just absolutely mental. And then being able to tank them up with a life modifier on top is just absolutely bloody unhinged. Okay, so the last one is today. As of today, Path of Exile 2 hit 4th on the global top sellers list on Steam, which is just crazy. So it's never happened before. But yeah, this is going to be a big game, and there's going to be a lot of new players and a lot of people getting into this one. So yeah, strap yourself in for the ride. Okay, so if you like this video and information video updates that are straight to the point and succinct like this, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. I'm going to be doing tons more content. I've got like another 3 or 4 videos up the pipe that I'm working on right now. And as more news presents itself, definitely, you know, pop in, say hey, and I'll keep releasing videos and content. Also, we've got our Discord restructured, ready for Path of Exile 2, so that'll be in the description below. And make sure you go over to Darth Microtransactions and Gazzy's channels and check out their stuff as well. Their interview was really well put together. It was actually really fun to listen to. And hopefully we get a hell of a lot more information in the last remaining days before the calm, before the storm. Anyway, I'll see you guys later and have a good one.